Hello, May class, and welcome to your next maths lesson. In the previous lesson, we were continuing looking at our equivalent fractions. And in today's lesson, we are looking at the following. We're going to be looking at equivalent fractions using diagrams. So before we do that, I'm going to pause the video on the arithmetic for you, and please make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil and answer the arithmetic questions that have been given to you on the screen. Okay, now that you have completed that, let's go through the answers, and I have written them on the board for you. So just make sure that you are ticking as you go and put a little dot if you've got it incorrect, and then you can go back and correct it. So 2 times 7 is 14. What is 24 shared into 3 equal groups? It would be 8 because it is 24 divided by 3 gives me 8, and then I could check it by going 3 times 8 is 24. What is 999 is Roman numerals? It is CMXCIX. What number is next in the sequence? 4, 7, 10, 13, 16. It's going up in threes. 4 times 9 is 36. 72 divided by 8 is 9. 2 kilometers is 2,000 meters. 5,843 plus 3,232 is 9,075. 9,875 minus 4,555 is 5,320, and then 42 divided by 6 is 7. Right. If we have a look at this, what is the shaded fraction? So if we have a look, using the fraction rule to find 3 more equivalent fractions. Over here, we have got a quarter, we've got 2/8, we've got 3/12, we've got 4/16. We can see from this that these are all equivalent fractions. Remember what I said to you about following the lines down the page so you could find equivalent fractions? If it cuts through like this one, it's not an equivalent fraction. But if we're looking at this quarter here, and I follow my line down, I can see that it is the same as 2/8. It is the same as 3/12. It is the same as 4/16. And we could go on with more as the fraction parts get smaller. So remember that an equivalent fraction means that the fractions are equal. They are an equal amount. So if we have a look at this diagram, we've got a fraction there that we're not sure how many, well, it actually says, it's a half. So this fraction here is a half. And we can see that this one says, how is that equal to something over 12? So this has been broken up into 12 equal parts. How many equal parts make it so that it is equal to a half? And the answer is 6. This one here shows us 2/3. This is obviously 1/3 here, 1/3, and 1/3. And this one has been broken up into 12ths. So all of them are 12 over 12. So what is 2/3 the same as? And we can see it's the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is the same as 8 over 12, or 8/12 is the same as 2/3. One of the things I reminded you, and I did speak briefly about it, is when we're looking at fractions, we need to see what is an equivalent fraction to this. What we would do is, what can we times this by to get to 12? I can see that 2 can be times by 6, and then I would also times the top by the same, and then it would give me an equivalent fraction. Okay, so 6 over 12 is the same as 1 over 2, or a half. And the same with 2 over 3 is equal to something over 12. What have you done to 3 to get to 12? You've times it by 4. So if we times that by 4, we get 8, and that is obviously an equivalent fraction. So pause the video now and sketch your own diagram to complete these fractions. I will draw this for you. So you will draw a bar, and I'm going to draw 3 so that we can do this together. Okay, I'll draw a line in between. The top one will be one that we can see. So make sure use your rulers when you're doing this. You can see I'm ruling straight lines. I'm making sure that it is equal. Okay, I've got my 3 bar charts, and then I'm going to, this one says you've got a half. This one is broken into 3 equal pieces. We're going to put that there, and then we are going to put that there. So that one is into thirds, and then this one would have been into quarters. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Got 4 equal parts there. So you can see that what I've done is I've tried to draw the first ones, so I can then hopefully do the next ones. So it says that this one, how many sixths do we have that equal a half? So we need to make sure that the bottom one is broken into sixths. This one says twelfths, so each one of these will be broken up into 4. You can see I'm still using my straight lines, making sure that it is equally shared out. If you have your squared paper, this will be much easier for you. Okay, and then this one is an 8. Okay, as you can see, I have got, and I will use a different color, I've got halves here, and I have sixths here. Then I have twelfths here, because that's in 12 equal pieces. And this one is in thirds at the top. This one at the top here is in quarters. And this one is in eighths. Okay, so that should help you then with your fractions when we are doing these. So if we use our colors to color in, I can see that this says a half. So you should have colored in 1/2. And what does that equal? It equals, we can see this is an equal sixth. So if we use a different color, we use green. So I can see that 3/6 is the same as 1/2. Now, if we look at this one, it says 1/3. So if I look at 1/3, and then I look at how many, but this is 12 equal pieces. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1/3 is the same as 4/12. And then the last one says we've got 3/4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And how many eighths does that equal? It equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6/8. So your fractions should look something like that. So give yourself a tick if you have got that. If you haven't, just give yourself a little correction to what it should look like. So using a fraction wall will be much easier when you are doing this work, because a fraction wall will let you be able to draw the line down the middle of each one. So if we were looking, and I will draw my line. If I'm looking at a third, I'm going to look across. There is the line for 1/3. And I can see from this that 1/3 is the same as 2/6. It is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 4/12. And then give it a think of what do you think is going to happen to get it. If we look at how it's going up here and we look at the bottom, so we're going from 1/3 to 1/6, 6 to 1/12, 12 to 24. So the whole thing is doubling. So if we double this number, what will this one be? So I want you to give it a pause and then I'll give you an answer. Right, so your answer should have been 8. Because you can see each time it's doubling. So what happens to this one to get to there? You've times it by 2 and you've times that by 2. And it will get you to that number. So what rule can you come up with for equivalent fractions? So use this as an example, okay? So use this drawing as an example. What rule can you come up with for an equivalent fraction? Think about what I spoke to you about the denominator and the numerator when you are timesing them. Whatever happens to the top happens to the bottom. And then write your rule out and then complete this number line, because these will all be equivalent fractions. So what has happened to the 1 to get it to the 2? And then the same needs to happen to the 4. Then how do we get from this number to that number? Think about that. Think about what I said about getting from 4 to 12. What happened to the 4 to get to 12? What happens to the 1? What happens to the 1 to get to 4? Then what do you do to the 4? Okay, so keep going back and think about that. Right, if we're looking at our true or false questions, let's have a look. We have 1/6 is the same as 2/12. Is that correct? If the denominator in a fraction increases from 4 to 8, we must add 4 to the denominator to keep the same value. And there is an error in that, so I'm going to correct it. Okay, to keep the same value. If the numerator in a fraction decreases from 20 to 10, we must divide the denominator by 2 to keep the value the same. So that is saying that if we are going from, for example, 4/20, and I want to go to 10, what have I done to the bottom? I've divided it by 2. So what should I do to the top? Remember what I said about when we're multiplying, it works the same with dividing. What you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So is that true or false? And then I would like you to tell me if 6/7 is the same as 18/21, and 9/36 is the same as 3/30. So it's obviously these are all true or false. And then I would like you to give a reason for your answer. Don't just write true or false. Give me a reason for what you've written. Right, our independent work today is the following. You are going to complete the equivalent fractions that have been given to you there. You're also going to then find 3 ways to make the equivalent fractions. And then Eva and Ron have a baguette each. The baguettes are the same size. Eva cuts her baguette into 8 equal pieces. It may be quite useful at this point to draw your baguette. So imagine your baguette was a little bar like that. Okay. I'm going to try and equally do that. So if Eva's is broken up into 8 equal pieces, 8 equal pieces. I'm just doing this very roughly so that you can see. Okay, 8 equal pieces. This is Eva's one, and then this will be Ron. Okay, And how many equal pieces? So then Ron says three of my equal pieces are equal to 6 of Eva's. So 6 of Eva's are equal to 3 pieces of Ron's. So what has Ron cut his into compared to Eva's? So see if you can complete that sentence or that question. Don't forget to share your work on Tapestry with us. Please make sure that your work is uploaded by 4 p.m. this afternoon. If you have any questions about your maths, please make sure to hold on to them and we can check through them when we are looking at our live lessons tomorrow.